and I'll do the usual welcome to the Unity of Livonia, a Course in Miracles study group. It is Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we're about to finish up the 2 supplements to A Course in Miracles that we started back on June 13th. And just before we started the recording, we were, or I should say, I was going on about how much I've enjoyed doing these supplements for the first time. They've really left a deep impression on me. And I know we're not quite done yet, but I think there's even more amazement in store as we complete our study of the Song of Prayer. But before we do that, hold on one sec. All right, before we do that, I put on the agenda, I don't know, Spirit just led me to pull up my old friend here. It's a book called From the Christ Mind, and I read from it whenever Spirit moves, so that's why it's back tonight. But without boring you with all the background about this book, let's just say it was written by a guy out in Chico, California, and it is another version of A Course in Miracles in more of a book form. It just reads, chapter by chapter, and it's not the workbook and the manual. It's just pure messaging from A Course in Miracles. So tonight, I thought I'd bring in this reading on page 123. It's the book is From the Christ Mind, Book 2, and this section is called The Great Plan. So take a listen. I hope it'll get us in the mood and the framework for what we're going to be studying tonight, at least in general. This section is called The Great Plan. To all who come to you, you must give everything that you may receive everything. This receiving is actually a remembering, a revealing of what is already yours. The purpose of your giving is twofold. By giving everything to your brother, you are acknowledging your brother's interests and yours are the same. This is an active recognition of oneness. And by so giving, the memory of God's gifts returns to awareness. By your giving them away, you accept his gifts as yours, and in giving, you accept their purpose. The purpose of all that God has given you is to be shared. God's gifts are for all, given to everything created in its creation. Through giving is it revealed that you have everything and that you are everything. What you are, you have, and what you have is what you are. To serve the great plan, you must serve all those for whom it is intended. To love God is to love his creation. Love naturally gives itself to all. That is how it returns to every mind. Each mind in which the flame of love is burning brightly leans close to another and helps kindle a new flame. Love, like fear, is contagious, and the presence of love will grow. In its kindly light, all darkness and fear will disappear forever. You are meant to be the embodiment of love, that you may bring love to all who inhabit the world, meant to be the place where fear rules and love is denied. Who else but you can be the savior of the world? Who else is there? Until you accept your part in the great plan of salvation, it is not complete. Would you serve your Father, the creator of all that truly is? Or would you serve the ego, the harsh ruler of an imaginary land where pitiful creatures come to die? If you could but see what you have lost, what you are choosing in its place, and the consequences of that fateful decision, you would waste no more time wandering about in dreams, imagining you are what you are not. You would turn to your Creator, embrace his plan for salvation, and become once again what you have always been, the Christ. Because your mind lacks the clarity to perceive so clearly, it is necessary to teach you the difference between where you think and experience yourself to be and where you truly are and will be again when the mind has been made ready to let the memory of God return to awareness. So I hope that wasn't too long. What'd you think?
Sums up the course.
Yeah, and that was just about a page. So the thing runs like, I don't know, about 300 pages. I don't know. It always messes up with my screens there. From the Christ mind. Did you see it?
Who is the author, Jim?
He is, oh God, a great, Daryl Morley Price. Darrell, middle name Morley, last name Price, Price.
Thank you.
And it's an excellent, some people could say it could be a Course in Miracles prequel. It's a lot easier to understand the format. It reads like a book, right? But don't you see, it's pure Course in Miracles. Have you ever considered why all the Course in Miracles teachers sound alike? Ron, you're a Course in Miracles teacher.
Yes, I am.
Does what I'm saying different from what you attempt to convey, at least at your course groups?
No, it's the same. Definitely the same.
Okay. Is this different from what Marianne Williamson would be telling you?
It's the same for her as well.
Okay, and let me throw it out to the group. A lot of folks are on mute. But yeah, I like to hear your comments, and just for a few minutes about God's plan of salvation. Isn't that what we talk about a lot here? And to me, the more you understand God's plan of salvation, or at least it's helped me, it helps me to make it present. There's a line, Joan and Sherilyn, weren't you here last night? We were reading in Charles Anderson and the comparison to 12 steps. And he said, and what you find in 12 steps is if you really commit to this, first you work the plan, and then you find out, oh my God, the plan is working me. Because you have to give your life over to this. It appreciates every step you take, but like anything else, to see its effect, you got to get serious about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's you have to seriously let go and let God, and you'll start to see it work. But it kind of works in reciprocity to your willingness. If you really see it work, you got to really give it a try. Right?
Right.
That's fair, right?
Yeah.
That respects your free will, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like love to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Jim,
Anything else? Comment there?
yeah, Jim, I find interesting when you mentioned the similarity between the course and the 12 steps of AA.
Yes.
One of the steps of AA is made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understand Him. And that sums up at the end that practice these principles in all our affairs, which I think, of course, in Miracles, same thing.
Precisely. And that, Frank, you're not in the Monday night group, but that's exactly what Charles Anderson said.
And that's what I do on Monday night is AA. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywho, are you getting in the mood for this song of prayer?
Sure.
All right. Well, listen, we left off hold on, I gotta get my book open here again. I think we left off on page 17, and we're in the section healing, false versus true healing.
Right.
So maybe a little recap is in order to kind of jog our memory a little bit. The Song of Prayer consists of 3 main sections. The first section is called prayer. The next section is called forgiveness. And the third section is called healing, right?
Right.
So if you look on page 16, you'll see we're in the third section called healing. All right.
Okay.
So a brief recap of what we've covered is kind of in that introduction in the first paragraph there, where it reads, prayer has both aids and witnesses. Do you see it?
Yes.
All right. Hold on. Let me make a screen adjustment here for comfort if I can. All right. So prayer, that was section 1, wasn't it?
Yes.
Has both aids. What's the aid to prayer?
Forgiveness.
Section 2. And witnesses. What's the witness to prayer?
Healing.
All right. So Joan, I'll give you an A++. You're wonderful, wonderful. Is that helpful to everybody else?
Yes.
Just kind of where we are and what we're talking about. So there's prayer. It has associates that help prayer. And one the aid to prayer is this: if you can learn to forgive, it makes your prayer super powerful. Okay? And if you want to see the result that prayer works, you'll see the results in something called healing. So first of all, we got into what causes the need for healing is sickness, right? So having said that, now Jesus is going to talk about false versus true healing. So I don't think I want to say any more. Well, I'll read paragraph 1, sentence 1 of false versus true healing. It says, false healing merely makes a poor exchange of one illusion for a nicer one. So it's not really healing, is it? So if we could make our reader list, let's get started in reading about the difference. Catherine, you reading tonight? Catherine?
No.
No? All right. Sherilyn, you?
Yes.
Number 1, Frank, number 2, right?
Right.
All right, hold on. Debbie, number 3. Ron, number 4. Joan is 5. Laverne, 6. Sue, are you reading?
No.
Okay. And forgive me, someone came in, I think.
It's Gina.
Gina.
Hey,
Oh,
Gina's
Hi,
here.
Gina.
hi, everybody.
Hey, I'm glad you made it. Would you
Gina?
be leader 7? Gina?
Yes, I will. And here
All
comes
right.
here comes D as well.
All right. Okay. D, are you there?
Dee. Hi, everyone.
Hey, welcome. You're just in time. Would you be reader 8?
I'd love to be.
Good. Listen, we're getting ready to start page 17, healing, false versus true healing, Roman 2, paragraph 3. Now you missed the kind of recap I just did, but I'm sure it'll fall in place when we start reading, Dee. If not, just ask questions as usual, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. Carolyn, page 17, false versus true healing, paragraph.
3.
It started paragraph 1. I'm not feeling good about 3. I think you'll see what I mean. Paragraph 1, please.
You want me to start? Is it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think we'll need that paragraph.
All right. False healing merely makes a poor exchange of one illusion for a nicer one, a dream of sickness for a dream of health. This can occur at lower forms of prayer, combining with forgiveness, kindly meant but not completely understood as yet. Only false healing can give way to fear, so sickness will be free to strike again. False healing can indeed remove a form of pain and sickness, but the cause remains and will not lack effects. The cause is still the wish to die and overcome the Christ. And with this wish is death a certainty, for prayer is answered. Yet there is a kind of seeming death that has a different source. It does not come because of hurtful thoughts and raging anger at the universe. It merely signifies the end has come for usefulness of a body functioning. And so it is discarded as a choice, as one lays by a garment now outworn.
What do you think, folks? Did you learn anything? This is kind of a big bombshell number 1. There was a comment starting there. Who was that, may I ask? No?
I was just agreeing with you. It's very difficult.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Oh,
Any other comments on this very potent first paragraph? Oh my God.
Well, what stuck with me is the false healing part, and that it gives way to fear, and your sickness is going to strike again. So, of course, my thought is, what are my false healings? Is that the anger and the fear? Is all of that? If I don't get rid of all of that, and if I don't forgive myself for all those error thoughts, if I'm still fearful, then I'm going to have false healing.
So,
If I don't forgive myself and forgive my brothers, then I'm going, if I don't do that in the entirety, the healing is going to be false. That's what I'm thinking as I read this paragraph.
yeah, I'm certainly with you on that. He's describing false healing. Why? Why must it be false? Because remember, he prefaced it by saying, even with seeming good intentions, it still may end up being this false version of things.
Mhm.
So what do you think the difference is gonna be then? What do you have to do to make it be true healing?
How about connecting with spirit? You know, we
Yeah,
think if we're sick, it's it has to do with the physical, not that we've lost connection with spirit.
okay. I think that's very well said, Miss Miller. And it's, to me, leading us in a good understanding of where this is going.
Mhm.
There is nothing that can be done on a physical level that will ever give you what you're looking for.
And Debbie's
Okay.
talking
ahead.
about Debbie's talking about the miracle, which is healing, but you have to, purification comes first, correct? Mind
That's
purification.
old number 7, right?
Yeah,
Right,
yes,
right.
right.
It
Right.
occurs to me I'm getting a little rusty, particularly on my Bible stuff and passages. But I still remember old number 7 on the 50
Right,
biblical principles list.
right.
Um,
Purification is necessary first.
and the purification is not physical.
Right,
It, to me, is a realization that there's nothing I can do to make the body real. So, what could it be used for? It's
communication.
not real. You ready? Let's go on and read some more. How's that?
Isn't it a communication device, the
Yeah.
body?
That is the body at the best, the very best it can be, is a help in carrying out what?
God's plan for salvation.
The thing we read about at the beginning of our study.
Through healing.
Oh boy. So somebody just go again. We did this last night. Look at lesson 100. Start at 98 maybe in the workbook. And somebody just read the lesson title at 98. You know. Who's going to jump on out there?
Okay, I got it.
All right, so
98, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation.
and read 99.
Sorry, I should turn the page. There we go. Salvation is my only function here.
And let's do 100.
My part is essential to God's plan for salvation.
I'll just finish it up on a little different subject and read 101. Somebody, Jeff or whoever.
God's
Okay.
will for me is perfect happiness.
Very good. Yeah.
All right, so get in line with the others.
Mhm.
Okay, where is my there's nothing physical. There is no physical remedy that can bring my happiness, right?
Mhm.
You know what, Jim? I just wanted to add, I used to think that, I don't know if this is part of it, but I used to think that to suffer was to reach my salvation, or I had
Yes,
to,
yes,
you know, and I
yes.
realized that's not true, you know,
Right.
Mhm.
but I
And,
used to believe that.
and that's why the New Thought movement, of which Unity is a part, was such a big deal, because it said, no, God's not like that.
Right,
God's not a punishing God, a fearful God. How can you be God is love and God of fear?
right.
And Unity said that's a mistake to think of God as being fearful. And so, with that major turnaround, you see how a whole new spirituality or approach to thinking started to evolve. You know, Unity's been around 100 years or more than 100. But yeah, Catherine, because that's what my church taught too. And the way to like Jesus, you got to carry the old rugged cross, right?
Right.
So I'm not negating or disparaging those teachings. I just feel like it was a mistake, and humanity is evolving toward a different understanding of God, one that makes a lot more sense. So thanks, Catherine. Anything else there?
No, I just want to say it's all about love, you know.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Profound, right?
Right.
So, to bring
And
it, yeah,
I'm thinking what we're saying about salvation and stuff, it explains that the end of this paragraph, where it merely signifies the end has come for the usefulness of body function. And we don't need the body to heal.
no,
We need to join with spirit, and that may happen in death, ultimately happen in giving up the body.
I can't cling to the body and be what I am.
Mhm.
Let me be what I am, and that will include everything I need to carry out the body's function. But first, I have to see the body is not me. I mean, seriously, when I look in the mirror, there's something inside me looking at me, look at the mirror. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's my higher self.
Jim, I was just wondering, I heard that we're not our emotions, that we're not our thoughts. Is that true?
Yes. Anything that, all right, let's do it this way. Maybe it'll be helpful. You are the subject and everything else is an object. Isn't that what we've been taught? Okay, it'll be your house, your car, your kids, your emotions, your thoughts. Right, Catherine?
Right.
Well, who is your? Because yours seems to be separate from the other stuff, right? And yet what we're maintaining is you're all of it. You have everything. You have dominion over, you are creation. You are expression of creation. So what do you want to do with that? If you use it for good, it'll help everybody. If you use it for your own little pitiful self, it'll gum up the system. What you gonna do? Where's your, what do you like better? Sweet or sour? Loving or cantankerous? Which one makes you feel better?
You know, I just had another thought too when we think of things as being an idol, you know?
Yes. So
Right.
I don't want to drift too far, but to bring us back on what we're saying here in this first paragraph is that if I cling on to the body, what is the prognosis for your body?
Yeah.
You're later
Right.
going to
Can
die.
you think of
Yeah.
anything else?
You're gonna get sick.
No.
That's just
But
not to get sick.
if I'm not a body, what are the possibilities for my future now? How long is my future now?
Everlasting.
Endless.
Forever.
Okay, where would I live?
With God.
With God or the universe.
I mean, it's almost not worth discussing. Wherever I have everything. Again, it's Jesus says, to what else can the Holy Spirit appeal except all power and all glory? Who wouldn't take that over this little pitiful thing we call the world and the body? Who in their right mind would not make that exchange? So I'll ask it again, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. Who in their right mind would not be willing to make that choice? Pardon me?
No one in his right mind would be willing to make that choice.
No, not in their right mind.
The ego.
By definition, is insane.
Yeah.
So, do you see the necessity of letting go of the ego in terms of how you identify yourself? It is the ego that is the object, the thing that's really separate from you. I didn't say battle it, did I? But just the recognition of the relationship allows you to manage it on your behalf now. the ego is a friggin' poor teacher. Why?
Because it's insane.
It's an illusion.
Is that common sense?
Mhm.
Eliminates God.
Go ahead, say that again.
Eliminates God or Holy Spirit.
He attempts to, right?
Right.
The ego is not a person or an entity, but it is a thought system that is against the thought system of God. It's like anti-God thought system. It's an illusory opposition created from this thing we call the tiny mad idea that there could be something called separate heavens. Don't you see it don't work? But we got brothers and sisters out there. I mean, if they could see it, if it were properly presented or whatever, it's not that they're stupid. If you could just show them and what it's done for your life. If we could demonstrate and be an example of what happens when we turn this whole thing over to this higher power, right?
Jim, can I add something? This might get off the subject, but could
Oh,
I add?
it sounds like I'm already off. Catherine. Sorry. Go ahead,
I
dude.
was just thinking, like I've been doing a lot of studying with Joe Dispenza,
Yes,
and he was talking about your thoughts and how your thoughts can change your wavelengths.
yes,
Um, beta, like you have low, medium, and high beta,
yeah,
and medium and high beta is when there's anxiety or depression,
yes, ma'am.
and then you have theta, which is meditative or peaceful, and then you have delta, which is sleep, and then you have so which is the other one, alpha, which is energize and your creative wavelength. Then you have gamma, which is your superconscious, and this is all brought about by thought.
There's so much, there's so much we don't even know about level 2.
Right.
We don't even know how the body, which is an illusion, through what illusion mechanisms of illusions the body even works, or the mind even works, let alone the ultimate fact that none of them are real, but it does attest to the miraculousness and the intricacies of their creation. Who created it? God's kids, right?
Right.
Through a tiny mad idea, but look at how powerful these kids are. Even their illusions are so creative. How sensitive is this nothingness body? Can survive getting run over by a Mack truck, or it can go down with the bite of a rattlesnake. Interesting creation, isn't it? Complex, isn't it? Whoever made that stuff, they're good.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now, who would that be?
Oh, God.
God's kids.
Yeah, God's
Even
kids.
their mistakes are wonderful. It's just in the wrong direction.
But
Yeah.
maybe we can look at it as teaching tools.
How else is there to look at it in truth?
I mean, I have to, yeah, you have to say, well, I'm on this path and I'm not liking the scenery. Maybe I need to look for something else.
Yeah, but lesson 68 says love holds no grievances.
Right.
So how can you possibly be love and hold grievances?
Well, no.
Right?
Well, so that's what you need to look at, right? Is
It's like you gotta seriously give up stuff,
yeah.
but it won't be giving up stuff. It'll be replacing stupid stuff with
With-
stuff you can really use, like the truth, right?
Yes. And if you hold those grievances, you're going to be praying, but you're going to have that false healing.
You'll have these things holding it back. But if you use them all, you'll see the results in terms of healing. It won't be healing cancer per se, nor will it be healing how to get from point A to point B without having an accident. Those things address the effects. But where's the problem? What is it that needs healing?
I'm thinking.
The mind, the mind.
And what's another synonym for heal? What does heal mean?
I'm going to say love, forgiveness.
All right, and I was going to say wholeness.
Okay.
Healing restores wholeness. When you cut your finger, we put the medicine and Band-Aid on. What are we trying to do? Restore health, right? Restore wholeness. This is not a fragmented creation. And no amounts of wishing for separate heavens will work. You are not alone. You are not comfortless. It's not dog eat dog. How long have we tried that? Does it work? You're not stupid, right?
Sometimes.
All right. We're seeing stupidity lift a little at a time, right? That's great. But could the issue be that it was a mistake? And somebody needs to turn the ship around. If you've been watching Marianne Williamson's campaign this year for president, or her last run, she uses that term a lot. I've only got 4 years. I can't necessarily get us going in the right direction, but I can start turning the ship around from the edge of the cliff. I mean, it's getting to where we're powerful enough to walk ourselves right into disaster.
We already did. What are you talking about? We will.
Okay? Well, I'm being kind then. Let's just say, Sue. What does it take for us to see a simple yet catastrophic mistake that would bring us to our knees enough to give up this, to start working together, right? Maybe that'll make the world better. You can tell I've gone off here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other
that's-
comments?
But that's very important because right now, the ego in essence is winning in this world. The ego is threatened by the spirit, and the ego must separate the people. The ego must produce fear and destruction and pit people against people. And it's doing a very good job of it.
Right.
And so there'll be a few people like ourselves who will in essence pave the way, and everybody on this call that I know has been doing this for years, lots of years. And to me, everything I'm hearing here is surrender. When you surrender to spirit, you can hear what is necessary to achieve the desired result.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing.
There's
Okay.
something alive in me that can take care of me better than I ever could.
Yeah.
It's real, but you have to be willing enough. It works in a reciprocal relationship to willingness. That's why forgiveness is so
Very
important.
important.
I have to learn to look over or let go of things that I thought were so real and accept that they were not. Their only reality for me is a lesson. This is a school. It's a simulation. It was originally made out of rebellion, out of the idea of separate heavens. But God, the Holy Spirit, can remedy that by putting a part of you that remembers your common sense, your right mind, your holiness, your truth. But it's educational. Kids have inquiring minds. You have to respect that. You have to count on it at that level of creativity and imagination, don't you? If you're a smart parent, wouldn't you know how your kids are? So I just maintain, okay, we live in an illusion, right? We on board with most everybody here with that? We
Yes.
live in an illusion.
Yes.
It's not real. So why the hell am I here in this crazy illusion? What's its purpose? Somebody tell me what do you think? What's the purpose? If you accept it's an illusion, it's the effect of a cause, right?
Mhm.
Somebody speak to the cause then. Why do you think we're in an illusion? What's its purpose?
To learn lessons.
Yeah, lesson 193, all things are lessons God would have me learn. Any others, anybody, other ideas on what is the purpose of this crazy, tragic, insane world? What's it for?
Healing and extending love.
To
So
be
why do you-
seekers, to be out there looking for, yeah, love and forgiveness and ways to practice that.
Why? How many of you have ever asked, what am I?
Yeah,
Yes.
to find out what we really are. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Catherine just asked it when she asked, am I my thoughts and my emotions? I think
Emotions.
she was
Yep.
asking that
Yeah.
question then.
Yeah.
And if it's all an illusion, then you're not your thoughts and you're not your emotions, because that's conscious. You're consciously aware of that. So it's all an illusion.
So if
So-
I'm not that, why am I here?
You had the tiny mad idea, and now that you're here, you might as well turn this into something
Okay.
wonderful by extending love.
Could we be the prodigal kids? Y'all all know the story of the prodigal son in the Bible, right?
Right, comes back to learning the lesson.
What was the moral of the prodigal son story?
You can never separate from God. You're gonna come back.
Well, was the son glad to be back home after his journey or happy?
You bet.
Pardon me?
Happy,
Happy?
happy.
Why
Right.
was he happy?
You back to the Father.
Yeah. How about Dorothy? What's the moral of that one? Was
There's
she
no
glad
place
to be
like
back
home.
home?
She never left home. It was all a dream.
Yeah, but even in her mind, was she glad it was all a dream?
Ecstatic.
How did she learn that there's no place like home?
By going through the
A
trials.
dream. Yes. Laverne.
Yes. What's the
By
question?
going through a dream. Isn't that
Yes.
how Dorothy learned?
Yes. Yes.
Do you see it being used again here for a worthy purpose? Could that be why I'm here? Why you're here? Why
Find our way
Jesus
back to
here?
God.
Pardon me?
To find our way back to God.
Now, what's the difference between the time we were with God and when we're with God again after finding our way back home? It's an important difference.
Isn't it just an instant? It's a dream. It's not
Yeah,
real.
but I'm not talking about the process or how long
Okay.
it takes. I'm talking about the outcome
We're
between.
willingly there now.
Yay!
Okay.
We are there of our own volition. We got to try not being home and we didn't like it, right?
Right.
This time I'll choose being home every time because I love it. It's so much better than my favorite dreams and delusions and hallucinations that there could be a faraway land. there, man, am I off tonight? I'm sorry. Well, take your books and go to the manual for teachers. And in the manual for teachers, around number 25, maybe, question 25, I want you to see this, if I can get my fingers working right here.
Are psychic powers desirable?
Go back to 24 and look at paragraph 6. This is where Jesus is talking about, is reincarnation so, but specifically paragraph 6. Let me just read it and get to the point. It won't take long. Paragraph 6. The emphasis of this course always remains the same. It is at this moment that complete salvation is offered you, and it is at this moment that you can accept it. This is still your one responsibility. Here it is. He says, and this is kind of a metaphor, okay? Atonement, what's atonement, folks?
Correction of error.
Correction.
Correction of errors in thinking is a working definition. So the correction of errors in thinking, and you do this anytime, at any moment, might be equated to total escape from the past. That is forgiveness, right? And total lack of interest in the future. I'm good. I'm not worried about it. I'm not comfortless. I'm being taken care of. That's for real. Heaven is here. There is no faraway land. Do you see it?
Right.
Heaven is when?
Now.
There is no other time. Period. Full stop. Drop the mic. No teaching that does not lead to this should bother and float across your mind as a teacher of God. How much trust is that?
Complete trust.
So if you go back to lesson 20 in the workbook for students, I'm sorry, maybe 20. Yeah, lesson 20. Somebody read that one. And then somebody cue up 21. Yeah, taking too long. Don't be like me, take too long.
121?
Lesson, not 121,
21.
20.
I'm determined to see things differently.
And is that 20 or 21?
21.
Read 20.
I'm determined to see.
And then 21.
I am determined to see things differently.
And read 27.
Above all else, I want to see.
Read it again.
Above all else, I want to see.
And go to 28.
Above all else, I want to see things differently.
And then I will be healed.
Okay. You gotta be serious or this won't work. I've got to be as serious about this as I am about my ego. Okay. That's the problem. That's where sickness comes from. So believe it or not, my friends, Frank, are we ready for the next paragraph?
Paragraph 2.
Which is paragraph 2. Sorry, folks.
I gotta be serious, but I can't forget to laugh. I just gotta put that in there.
Well, wait a minute now.
No.
You can defend the truth. Okay. There's nothing to laugh about.
Okay.
Seriously, I'm sorry, excuse me, I said it wrong. There's nothing not to laugh about. Right?
Right.
If you're serious about this, you be laughing all the time. You be joyful you be happy all the time. All right. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
It's a lively evening tonight. That's because Laverne and, well, that everyone is here tonight. Wait, did you even oh, wait. Leading out of paragraph 1, we can't overlook. He says there are 2 ways to experience death. Did you remember that? False healing makes a poor exchange of one illusion for a nicer one. We together?
Yes.
But it says that false healing, I'm at sentence 4. False healing can indeed remove a form of pain and sickness, but the cause remains and will not lack effects. And what are he says, what is the cause, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a wish to die and be a body, if you will, and think level 2 is a reality. You'd still rather cling to that and try and overcome the Christ. Isn't that the ego's thought system objective?
Not
Yeah.
And with this wish is death and a certainty, for you're gonna get what you wish if you wish to believe on the body and the illusion. I can assure you the outcome is quote unquote death, but it's gonna be a suffered death instead of a welcomed. Well, let's just read a little bit more, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then he says in sentence 8, yet there is a kind of seeming death that comes from a different place. You with me?
Yes.
It does not come because of hurtful thoughts and raging anger at the universe. This approach to death merely signifies the end has come for the usefulness of body functioning. And so what do you do with the trash?
got it.
And so it is discarded. Do you willingly throw your trash out? Hello?
Yes.
As a choice, just like one lays by a garment that I don't need anymore. Now, just so you can see where this may be going, is that a good thing? When you
Yes.
can be free of stuff you don't need anymore?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
should that make you feel lighter and freer and happier, or possibly free you, right? Adds a
Right.
lot of new possibilities now, doesn't it? So we're up to reader. Frank, did you ever get to read?
No, I'm number
I'm sorry. Yeah. Now we're ready.
ready. Number two, this is what death should be: a quiet choice made joyfully and with the sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the Son of God along the way he goes to God. We thank the body then for all the service it has given us, but we are thankful too the need is done to walk the world of limits and to reach the Christ in hidden forms and clearly seen at most in lovely flashes. Now we can behold him without blinders, in the light that we have learned to look upon again.
Okay, we finally made it through the where we're supposed to start tonight, right?
Mm.
Debbie, would you read paragraph 3?
Sure. We call it death, but it is liberty. It does not come in forms that seem to be thrust down in pain upon unwilling flesh, but as a gentle welcome to release. If there has been true healing, this can be the form in which death comes when it is time to rest a while from labor gladly done and gladly ended. Now we go in peace to freer air and gentler climate, where it is not hard to see the gifts we gave were saved for us. For Christ is clearer now, his vision more sustained in us, his voice, the word of God, more certainly our own.
Thanks.
Oh.
Anything you want to talk about there, folks?
Ah.
Do you remember fairly early in the text, Jesus made some small mention of our real creations, but didn't talk about them much. Like, no, I don't want to talk much about those now, but just be assured you have your real creations that are waiting for you, something along those lines. And I was just thinking of that in sentence 4. Now we go in peace to freer air and gentler climate, where it is not hard to see the gifts that we gave were saved for us. Just maybe I'm nitpicking that. But anything else any of you want to say about this paragraph that stood out to you?
I just remember Deepak Chopra saying that his father, when he was, I think he said about 87 years old, came into the room one night and told all of his kids, I got to go now. I'm leaving now. And he left and went back to his room and quietly left his body. I thought that was such a wonderful story.
Yeah, we were recounting that Paramahansa Yogananda had a similar transition. He wasn't sick or anything like that.
Right.
Well, already these passages are starting to help us to say, let's look at this death thing again. Maybe it isn't what we thought it was. So to that extent, let's try and read a little more. Ron, we're up to you for paragraph 4, right?
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
This gentle passage
getting a little feedback from you, Ron, for some reason. Try it again.
Higher prayer,
Hey,
a
Ron.
kind forgiveness over. Yes.
All right, try it now. I think we're better. Could
Okay.
you start over this general passage?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
This gentle passage to a higher prayer, a kind forgiveness of the ways of earth, can only be received with thankfulness. Yet first, true healing must have come to bless the mind with loving pardon for the sins it dreamed about and laid upon the world. Now are its dreams dispelled in quiet rest. Now its forgiveness comes to heal the world, and it is ready to depart in peace, the journey over and the lessons learned.
Thank you, sir. Did anyone want to say something, or can we read one more? All right, Joni, do paragraph 5, please.
Okay. This is not death according to the world, for death is cruel in its frightened eyes and takes the form of punishment for sin. How could it be a blessing then? And how could it be welcome when it must be feared? What healing has occurred in such a view of what is merely opening the gate to higher prayer and kindly justice done? Death is reward and not a punishment. But such a viewpoint must be fostered by the healing that the world cannot conceive. There is no partial healing. What but shifts illusions has done nothing. What is false cannot be partly true. If you are healed, your healing is complete. Forgiveness is the only gift you give and would receive.
Oh boy, I'm getting excited. Laverne, do that last paragraph and maybe we can close by talking about the whole thing here.
False healing rests upon the body's cure, leaving the cause of illness still unchanged, ready to strike again until it brings a cruel death and seeming victory. It can be held at bay a little while, and there can be brief respite as it waits to take its revenge on the Son of God. Yet it cannot be overcome until all faith in it has been laid by and placed upon God's substitute for evil dreams, a world in which there is no veil of sin to keep it dark and comfortless. At last, the gate of heaven opens, and God's Son is free to enter in the home that stands ready to welcome him and was prepared before time was and still waits for him. So,
Don't you see as part of a plan?
yes.
Yep.
Yes, and it all starts with the forgiveness, the forgiveness of the self, and understanding what forgiveness is, not forgiveness to destroy, but forgiveness of self first, and then forgiveness of everything, and clearing your thoughts from error thoughts, and then the miracles number 7, and then we can have true healing rather than false healing. If healing can be permanent, meaning that you can walk out of your body without a lot of pain and suffering. When it's time for you, when you've completed your mission, your task is over, you can happily say goodbye.
Have you seen that walking out of the body demonstrated before? Or
In
heard
movies.
about it?
I've seen in movies where people, where the little ghost thing just kind of lifts up,
Yeah. Let me go back. How about that dude named Jesus?
Yeah. Yeah.
We mentioned Yogananda, and who else was brought up that kind of
De-
just walked
De-
out?
Deepak Chopra's father.
So we've got a little bit of evidence for that. Isn't this different than everything you've ever been taught? I never got that much into healing and death. And isn't it funny? They're probably the biggest existential issues, but you don't hear much common conversation about it because everybody's afraid of it.
Well, one thing that's not mentioned here is faith. Um, to have that permanent healing. I'm not thinking about myself. To have that permanent healing, you must have faith. Because when I have my challenges with my body, I become fearful. And I'm telling myself when I'm fearful, then I don't have faith. I'm doing my affirmations and my prayers, but if I'm still fearful, then the faith is lacking there. So you're thinking about Jesus and all of his miracles of healing. The first question was, do you believe? Do you have faith? So it gets back to faith and believing what Jesus is telling us here.
I'm sorry, I'm skeptical.
You're skeptical? All right, well.
I have faith to the extent that I see the fruit it bears. I have faith that's not blind, but it's kind of evidentiary based. I have to see it work. I'll just be honest.
Well, then you have to work it. It works if you work it. You have to work it. It works.
Well, yeah, but isn't that where most of us fall short?
Yes.
Yeah, even when you got the theory don't work if you leave it at home. Right? Is that common sense?
It's not going to work if you're fearful.
Joe, listen, let me salient to me in the paragraphs, probably the most earth-shaking news that I've ever heard is paragraph 5, sentence 5. Death is not,
Or death.
death rather is reward and not punishment. Does that change everything?
What is meant by that? I was going to ask about that sentence. Is that referencing that death is healing, that the wholeness? I didn't understand that sentence.
That's why you see great minds think alike, right? But doesn't that, I'm not saying it's true. As a matter of fact, to me, it's smart not to take anything as true because it comes out of a spiritual writing.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
What people write a whole lot of things, but go ahead, Dee. I was cutting you off, dear.
So, is it referencing the death of the belief that we're a body? I mean, what's the context? Okay.
Yes. Don't fear death. It is a reward, not a punishment. It Now, here's what he's going to be talking about for the next week, right? When we meet again, right?
Right.
What about this crazy statement that death is reward and not a punishment?
Well, it just seems to me,
Graduation. Go ahead. I'm
it
hearing you.
just seems to me, with all that we've talked about, it makes perfect sense. We've talked about why we're here, what we think of death, and what it's supposed to be. And then it makes sense to me that death is not a punishment, it's a reward. Getting out of this miserable life and all the things that we do and see wrong, and if we make it to this point, we can feel that we are being rewarded when death is not a punishment but a reward.
Yeah, maybe I came here, it was purely educational. And maybe a sign of graduation is death.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Some of you are going, well.
I still think it has something to do with healing of my consciousness, that we're not a body. I don't know.
Well, I do too. But when we are not a body and we're talking about death of the body, we've arrived, to me.
I don't think my body has to die for me to arrive. So I don't know.
Well, let me put it another way that may reconcile these two views. When you recognize that the body is not you,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do with the body?
Use it for love.
Okay.
To communicate
now
love.
I heard someone say earlier, more specifically, the Holy Spirit would have you use it as a communication device, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your consciousness has changed. Now you're using it as a communication device. And when you played your part in God's plan for salvation, which is the only reason you're here.
Yeah, then it makes sense you would be done with it.
And then you're done with that role. What's next on behalf of God's creation?
Well,
This is not about Jim. There are no separate heavens.
Yeah.
I want to add something. It says, you said that death is a reward and not a punishment.
Yes.
And you know that sin is not, with sin, there is punishment.
Yes.
And with, so.
Yes. Death is not a punishment for sin. There is no sin.
Sin is a change in perception. That's all sin is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
and if the whole thing is an illusion, so we all believe that this is, we're told that this is an illusion, then this is a dream. So what is the fear? I mean, what is, either we believe it or we don't believe it. Is this a dream, or is this is an illusion? Then if this is a dream and this is an illusion, we're really not here anyway. So, why should we be so fearful of that? And why should we not believe that it's a reward rather than a punishment? Just ask.
Because it would seem so hard to do. And the point is, you're right. But you won't be doing it. There is no you.
Correct. I said, we're not here
But
anyway.
there is something that has a bigger plan that you're a part of. Play your part and you will avoid suffering.
Yes.
It's
Right.
not about you and your separate heaven. If all is one, where's Debbie and Gina and Jim? I don't mean to rain on your parade, but we work much better together. We're extraordinary together.
Right? It's
So
like,
it's not like I'm asking you to give up something. I'm asking you to gain all that's yours.
Jim, it's like a tree in the forest. The trees, the roots come together and they signal each other. There's trees, when they need something, they tell another tree what it needs. There's unity, there's cohesiveness, we're all connected,
Sure. The course
Right.
would call it unified goals. Have you
Right.
ever heard that term in A Course in Miracles?
Mhm.
We need unified goals that are a demonstration of oneness. So I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. I appreciate going over tonight. But we did finish that section, Roman 2, false versus true healing.
Yeah.
Listen.
So if we believe in death, then we don't believe in love. Is that correct?
Well, how loving is that?
Not loving at all. So
Okay, it speaks for itself. That's common sense, right?
correct.
Okay, so it'll all come together in a very common sense way if we are willing to be open. And I appreciate your attendance here every, Tuesday night, and trying to do the best I can, because the course says you learn what you teach. So if you're getting anything out of this, just think of how much I'm getting, right? It's a win-win. I appreciate it. Any final comments? Just a reminder that, let's see, after December 19th, we'll be off for Christmas holiday stuff. Gina will be here on the 19th as facilitator. And then there's the day after Christmas and the day after New Year's, right? So we'll meet something like the 13th of January. I don't have my calendar up. But long story short, we won't meet for 2 sessions after the 19th. And probably you'll know it because you won't get an agenda or anything like that, okay? Just get to do some holiday reflection and enjoyment. Thank you again for being here.
Talking about holidays, I'd like to wish Sue and whoever else celebrates Hanukkah a happy Hanukkah.
Oh,
It's this
thank
week.
you very much. Thank
Happy
you.
Hanukkah. Yeah.
Thank you,
Happy
Dee.
Happy
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, forgive
to
my
everybody.
ignorance.
A beautiful, peaceful,
you.
loving
Yes.
Thank you.
holiday
Happy
experience.
holidays, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
What a nice family. Love you guys. See you next
right.
time, okay?
Joan, bye.
Bye.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, Jim, with Tom.
Oh, all righty. Bye-bye.
Okay. Right.
You all.